Panther people, what up? The schedule is out for this year, and I think the league did the Panthers a favor. Joining the season, I could taste it. I can taste it. Maybe because I'm burnt on my face and it feels like I've already gone through an entire summer, but I am sticky. I'm oily from being outside all day, and it was like in the low 80s. And so for us, that's hot this early in the spring, not even the summer yet, but I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it in the air. I can smell the IPAs. I could taste the IPAs. My brain can already. It's hurting so much because I'm just like stacking all these plans together on the down low, but not really with my wife. But with you guys, I'll be real. I'm planning a Carolina Hurricanes, Carolina Panthers weekend. So maybe like a Friday Hurricanes game in Raleigh, hang out in Charlotte, do the brewery tour on Saturday, Panther game on Sunday, go back home on Monday. Just saying. So I got one half of my schedule ready to go. Got the Panthers schedule, probably June, July. Get the Hurricane schedule, and then let's start planning. If you think Andy Dalton's starting week one, comment below. If you think Bryce Young is going to be starting week one, it still sounds crazy that I'm saying Bryce Young is a Carolina Panther player. But if you think Bryce Young is starting week one and the rest of the season right off the bat, also comment below. He says all the right things, Bryce. You know, he says he hasn't done anything yet in the league, and so he has to learn from Andy Dalton. He literally said in his walk and talk interview, me and Edgar talked about a couple of days ago, that the one player he's most excited to work with is Andy Dalton. Wow. Okay, so I think he learns a lot. Okay, so I'm flipping now live. This is the best part about this whole experiment. I'm flipping. I think Bryce Young is going to learn so much from Andy Dalton. He will beat Andy Dalton. So Bryce Young in Atlanta against Desmond Ridder and Bijan Robinson. I think the Panthers win that game. Let's just talk about the offense. I think Bryce Young is going to come out popping. I really don't think there's going to be much of a steep learning curve for him. I think he's going to figure it out. I think he's been preparing for the NFL literally since his day at Mater Day. And so I think his dad's a psychologist, people. I think he's going to be picturing himself, now that he has always known the schedule most likely, that he knows that he's going to be at Mercedes-Benz a Dome, and he's picturing himself there. He's picturing himself throwing the pass, reading the coverage, striking for touchdowns, celebrating. I think he's going to do it. So I think Terrace Marshall and Laviska Shenault looking lean and mean, and no more injuries for them being too heavy in terms of Laviska. I think everyone's going to be on the same page. This is not a late coaching staff hire. I think everyone's going to be on the same page right from the get-go since rookie minicamp they had just a couple weeks ago. I think the Panthers are going to win this game. They're going to start 1-0. In the division, week 2, Monday Night Football. All of a sudden, Panthers in primetime, baby. Panthers, and let's just check real quick how many times they're in primetime. Monday, 2, Thursday Night Football. Everyone gets Thursday Night Football. Okay, twice. That's cool. But you get that Monday Night Football thing off the bat, get that hype off the bat, and it's against the New Orleans Saints. And who better to have as your backup quarterback to let you know how the defense is for the New Orleans Saints? They haven't really had too many changes on the coaching staff-wise than Andy Dalton, who was just with them last year. So I think Bryce Young, again, soaking up everything from Andy Dalton. I think he comes out, and it's his first home game against the Saints, a team that had a quarterback for a very long time in Drew Brees, who was knocked for his size. He was about the same size, 5'10", maybe, 5'11". Not a big dude, but he won a damn Super Bowl with the Saints. He made it happen. The fact that he was with the Saints and not with the Miami Dolphins because of injuries, and they thought he was going to be able to hold up. They ended up signing Dante Culpepper, and so the parallels are just way too much there. I think Bryce Young in his home opener against a Saints team that I think is regressing, despite the fact that it's Derek Carr. I think the Carolina Panthers have a good experience against Derek Carr. I think he is not a dynamic player that they need to worry about. They just need to worry about shutting down the pass. Alvin Kamara is a running back, but I think our defense has started to come, kind of catch up with him. Of course, you got Brian Burns, who's a very athletic guy. Frankie Louvu, who's on the up and up. And of course, you got, again, back to the defense. I think the defense is going to be gelling. I think they're going to be feeling good. He added some veterans again, like in Von Bell. So I think they're going to wait. I think they're going to beat the Saints. So Panthers 2-0 right now. I've already said this in the past. I think they're going to the playoffs. I think they could win the division. The Saints don't scare me. The Falcons don't scare me. And at Seahawks, a Seahawks team that's just drafted Jackson Smith and Jigba. They gave Geno Smith, who they trusted. They didn't draft a quarterback, but they're giving Geno Smith another weapon. So they go to Seattle. Do I think Geno Smith was for real last year? They thought he was okay. They didn't draft another quarterback, at least high. Do I believe in the Geno Smith magic? Do I think the bubble's going to pop on Geno? I do. Darnold was starting. J.C. Horn was healthy. And I think he picked up Geno like twice. And so I see the Panthers now coming with a better offense, strengthened offensive line with Zavala added. And I think he's going to be an immediate impact player. I really do. Best quarterback in the draft. And it would be pretty awesome to have a guy like Jonathan Mingo link up off the field with DK Metcalf. So that's kind of a bit of a reunion there. Old Miss Rebels, big body wide receivers joining at Lumen Field. So I flipped that. Panthers start 3-0. Panthers 3-0 after beating two division foes and then one of their rivals in the Seattle Seahawks. Back to the bank and welcome the Vikings, who they've had trouble against, but they had trouble against them in the Matt Rule era. I think it's going to be a different situation with the Frank Reich era. It feels like the Vikings are just like that regular season team, and they don't do too great in the playoffs. They just kind of disappear. There are reports now that they could be letting Dalvin Cook straight up just walk, and they did draft a running back. I think he's out of TCU. I watched him in the bowl game. He was okay, but it was against Georgia, so they shut him down. Fuck it. I think the Panthers are going to be 4-0. I think they're going to be 4-0. Kirk Cousins is turning 35. He's 35 or turning 35. And I think this is when it starts to change. Because he's not doing the TB12 stuff. I don't think he's doing TB12 stuff. I don't think he's doing the plasticity workouts and all the things that Tom Brady is doing. I think he's like a meat and potatoes kind of guy. So I think he's starting to regress. I think the team might be thinking about the future. And so I think the Panthers aren't. I think they're thinking about the current moment right now. Bryce Young, friggin' Jonathan Mingo, friggin' Miles Sanders, friggin' J.C. Horn, Frankie Louvu, Brian Burns. We're winning now. They go 4-0 at home, 2-0 at home now. They beat the Vikings. The Lions at Ford Field. I've been to that. I was at this game. It was rough. That's where I met my good buddy Cliff. Continues to be a friend and continues to be my spirit animal when it comes to the Carolina Hurricanes, because I wish I could be going to these games more often because they seem so much fun. This is where I think the first loss might be coming from. I think the Lions are going to make Bryce Young's life a living hell. They picked up, not Dalton Kincaid, they picked up, who was the Laporta. They picked up Laporta out of Iowa. I think he's a big body tight end, body beautiful. They let TJ Hawkinson go. Aiden Hutchinson's still there, and he is part of the reason why I think this is where the Panthers' loss could come from. I think they're building a bully there a little bit, and they're kind of a little bit ahead of the game than the Carolina Panthers in terms of where they are in their development as a squad. They're under the Dan Campbell regime for quite some time, and I think they're kind of all on the same page and they're ready to go. I mean, I think the NFL thinks they're ready to go. They're literally opening up the season against the Kansas City Chiefs, who just won the Super Bowl. So I think this might be where the first loss it comes from, and I don't think it'll be a bad thing. I think it's still going to be a very, very close game, and hopefully Bryce stays healthy. That's it. So the Panthers lose Week 5 against the Lions. All right, Week 6. This could be tough. This is a bit of a tough stretch, and by tough stretch I mean 2 games, because then you're going to find out who they're playing in Week 7. They then go to Florida. So they go to Florida a bunch of times this year. 3 times. Miami, Jacksonville, Tampa. So that's not too bad. I think they have, one of the lowest kilometers or miles traveled out of the NFL right now. So they go to the Dolphins. Is it Tua Tagovailoa or is it Teddy Bridgewater? Who's their quarterback? Friggin' Tua Tagovailoa actually flirted with not playing football anymore. Literally retiring, hanging it up. But they got a pretty good team in Miami. They got a pretty good team. If I do pick a loss, battle 2 Alabama quarterbacks. Well, I'm just thinking about narratives right now. Tua, Bryce Young, 2 undersized quarterbacks. One proving people right in terms of their injury woes. The other one hopefully doesn't. I can see that being a loss. I can see it being a loss because it's got to come from somewhere. There's got to be a loss somewhere. All right, week 6. Bit of a tough stretch. By tough stretch, I mean 2 games because you'll see what happens in week 7. But the Carolina Panthers head to South Beach, one of 3 trips to the state of Florida. So not too bad. Not a bad trip at all in terms of distance. The first they go is Seattle, and they don't really go anywhere too crazy. And, there isn't too many times where they're staying in the middle of nowhere for far too long. It seems like they're always kind of within the Charlotte area. And so the Carolina Panthers taking on the Miami Dolphins. Who the hell is that quarterback going to be? If it is Tua Tagovailoa, that'd be great because the battle of 2 undersized Alabama quarterbacks. Then you got Skylar Thompson, who did admirably against the Buffalo Bills. And then you got Mike White. He's kind of got that swagger. Could we be facing Mike White or Tua Tagovailoa? Either way, they do have an explosive team. Obviously, Tyreek Hill could be giving our defenders, issues. Who's going to cover him? Is it a J.C. Horn situation or is it Dante Jackson who's just coming off an Achilles? I wouldn't really trust him there. I really do think some of these, undrafted free agents could have to be put into a good situation to maybe play because I think the depth at cornerback is still a bit of an issue. I feel like Mike McDaniel could scheme something up offensively. He's got a lot of him against Ejiro Evero. 2 young coordinators, now one a head coach, one soon to be a head coach. I think after the loss against the Lions, which I'm predicting, I think the Panthers bounce back and they beat the Dolphins just based on the quarterback play. I think our defense is going to give them trouble. Then they go and welcome the one that could have been CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans at the bank. That is a fun game. That's a fun game. Early kickoff. I think Panthers are going to win that. I think CJ Stroud is obviously going to be talked about. Everyone saw that clip of you and Josh McCown saying that, hey, when just the daps with him and Josh say, hey, when you come, we're going to go play hoop. We're going to hoop it up when you come to Charlotte. It seemed like at that moment, after that pro day, because he killed it. Obviously he killed it with the semifinal against Georgia. He killed it in the combine. He killed it in the pro day. And there really was momentum. I have a video saying that CJ Stroud is him because he doesn't have those injury concerns. Whatever happened after that, between that and the draft. But, how does he feel about that process? Is he happy where he's at in Houston? He'll never say no. But, this is the team that literally passed you up and then went for Bryce Young instead. There's going to be so much BFF, love leading up to this. But I don't think it matters. I think in terms of situation for the rookie quarterback to be in, obviously Bryce Young is in a way better situation, way better organization than CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans. They could try to prove me wrong, but who is he throwing to? Like, in terms of CJ Stroud, nobody. I think Panthers win that game. So right now we got 1 loss against the Lions. Anthony Richardson and the Colts at the bank. So you got one guy that could have drafted CJ Stroud week 8, another guy late kickoff, Anthony Richardson and the Colts the week after in week 9. Mind you, the Panthers play the AFC South this year. And last time I checked, when the Panthers went to the Super Bowl in 2015, it was when they were up against the AFC South. So, and they also have, I think, the top 4 or top 5 easiest schedule in the NFL. That's just statistically speaking. But the last time the Panthers literally faced this type of opponent, the AFC South, and you couple that with the fact that the NFC North is kind of up in the air, it makes sense this is one of the easier schedules because I think the easiest schedule is the Falcons and the Saints. They're probably not giving the Panthers some love in that situation. And it's all in the NFC South. The NFC South is completely up for grabs. The AFC South is stronger this year because look at the quarterbacks they got in the AFC South now. They got CJ Stroud as a rookie, but in a bad situation. Trevor Lawrence, who's getting better every single day. And then you got either Ryan Tannehill, Malik Willis, who might not ever be on the Tennessee Titans for any longer, that or Levis. And then you got, who else? And then you got Anthony Richardson. I think I named them all. So rising quarterbacks in the AFC South. Not as easy maybe in 2015, but still, last time the Panthers were playing the AFC South, they went to the Super Bowl, just saying. So I think that game, the Colts are a good team, and it's Frank Reich's old team at his new job. He shouldn't have been fired, guys. He shouldn't have been fired. Is Anthony Richardson going to be starting by week 9? Shoot, I think the Panthers win that game. I think it's personal with Frank Reich because he shouldn't have been fired. That's not his fault. I don't think he wanted to put in Sam Ellinger. Thursday Night Football. At another guy who would have been the Great White Buffalo in Justin Fields, quarterback for the Chicago Bears. They are going to be hosting the Carolina Panthers on Thursday night. That's a good-looking matchup. That's the Greg Olsen Bowl. But now it's the Justin Fields could have been a Panther but wasn't because they decided to go to J.C. Horn, who I hope is healthy by week 10. I hope he's healthy by week 10. Still playing. No injuries, please. I think that could be a loss. I just think primetime, Carolina Panthers, Thursday night. Normally, I know last year in the All Blacks, it looked pretty good. They did all right, but I just had bad experience. Like the Luke Kuechly concussion, the Cam Newton injury from TJ Watt, and then the blowout followed after. I don't like it. It'll be November, bit chilly in Chicago. Panthers lose that game. DJ Moore revenge game. I think I could see DJ Moore scoring the winning touchdown against Atlanta. I could see that happening. And also the Panthers' rush defense, not great, up against a dynamic runner like Justin Fields. And you could say, you could be yelling at this that, they're facing Anthony Richardson in week 9. He might not even be starting. We don't know. Come to town. Early kickoff for the Cowboys. They're normally playing in primetime. I think there's going to be back-to-back losses. This is when it could get tough. I think it'll be back-to-back losses. Dak Prescott, that defense is stacked. I think their skill position players could give our defense a little bit of trouble, depending on it's all based on injuries as well. Let's see how J.C. Horn's doing. Let's see how Dante Jackson's doing. Let's see how guys like Keith Taylor are doing. If Rajon Wright makes the team, how's he adapting to the NFL? I think that could be a loss. And then they go to Nashville, take on the Titans. That's a win. I'm not even going to really debate that. That's a win. At Saints, December 10th. Maybe Derek Carr catches fire later in the season. I think Panthers win that game. Falcons, Bank of America Stadium, 2 beaten and out. So I think that's like a flex game. They're going to move that around. That could be like a Saturday or a Friday. And then they host the Packers and Jordan Love on Christmas Eve. Huh. And who do they draft? They drafted Luke Musgraves. I can see the Panthers winning that game. It depends on Jordan Love. Jordan Love is kind of like that unknown. We don't know what do we work. He's just always just been that guy behind Aaron Rodgers, and he hasn't had like a signature game that makes it be like, well, the Packers are in good hands with Jordan Love. They didn't sign him on a big extension, really. He's making like Jacoby Brissett money. I think Panthers win that game, and it's a great Christmas present to everybody. He's making like Jacoby Brissett money. I think Panthers win that game, and it's a great Christmas present to everybody. And then they go to at Jaguars. I think they lose that game. It is former Philadelphia Eagles staff members. You got the head coach in Jacksonville, and then you got the head coach with the Carolina Panthers. Both won a Super Bowl with the Eagles. And again, just kind of like I was saying before with the Lions, I just think Doug Peterson and the Jaguars are just 1 year further along than the Carolina Panthers are right now in terms of building what they want to build with that specific head coach. That's another year under the belt, another offseason under the belt. Doug Peterson, Trevor Lawrence, and I think they'll just have a connection. They got Calvin Ridley, who normally gives the Carolina Panthers fits when he was with the Atlanta Falcons. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars win that one on New Year's Eve. Tampa comes to us, goes to Charlotte, takes on the Panthers. I think they lose that game. In terms of the Bucs, Panthers are going to win that game. Week 1, Falcons, at Falcons, win. Saints, at the Bank, win. At Seattle, win. Vikings, at the Bank, win. Lose to the Lions. Beat the Dolphins. Beat the Texans. Beat the Colts. Lose to the Bears. Lose to the Cowboys. Beat the Titans. Beat the Bucs. Beat the Saints. beat the Falcons again, beat the Packers, lose to the Jags, beat the Bucks. So that's 13-4. There you go. There you have it. Panthers go 13-4. If my math is wrong, tell me in the comments below. Tell me if you agree, disagree. Again, this is just emotions. I'm literally just scrolling and reading. I'm not doing any analytics. I didn't cover the drafts for any of these guys. I just know what the Panthers got, and they got Bryce Young, they got Frank Reich, they got friggin' Thomas Brown, they got Deuce Staley, they got Ejiro Evero, they got Brian Burns and everybody. I think they go 13-4. Saying that out loud. Which game am I going to go to? So my brother's wedding is in August, so I got to save some money leading up to that. Let's look at those November games. So November 9th is in Chicago. Hurricanes just scored, bet. Sunday the 19th, Cowboys. If I'm going to this game, you guys better not upcharge me, man. Then it's at Nashville on Boxing. On the 26th. That's pretty good. December 10th. That's in New Orleans. So it could be a week 15 Falcons at Bank of America. I've already seen them play the Falcons, but it'd be fun to watch Bijan Robinson. He's pretty dynamic. So it could be either week 15 against the Falcons or week 11 against the boys. All right. God, this feels good. 13-4. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. Let me know your reactions to the schedule, the timing of it all. If there's something I missed, let me know in the comments below. Stay tuned. I'm coming back. The game's still on. Hurricanes, New Jersey Devils. The Hurricanes have a chance to freaking punch their ticket to the Eastern Conference Final in the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's tied 1-1 where I'm watching this right now. The second period just started. For all you Caniacs out there, it's going to be a rapid fire update after the game. See you soon. Stay tuned for that. Oh, Carolina Panther fans, if you've been watching this far, you are now into the Surge Zone. You're watching Carolina Hurricanes playoff coverage now on Panthers Post. It's a team that I've been defending since 2019, since Don Cherry, famous Canadian hockey commentator. He's an institution here. Ripped on the Carolina Hurricanes for doing the Storm Surge, having fun. It's a game. They're playing millions of dollars. Play a kid's game. They're having fun. He ripped on them. I defended the Carolina Hurricanes, also because I'm a Carolina Panthers fan, and I love that area. And then I got destroyed by hockey Twitter. And since then, I felt I always had to cheer for the Carolina Hurricanes. I always keep an eye on them during the regular season, and I'm just loving what they're doing so far. Not only are they having fun, they're killing it. They're also doing it without their three massive offensive output juggernauts, including Max Pacioretty, who was brought in during the offseason and hasn't played a lick of playoff hockey right now. So shouts to them. You are moving to the Eastern Conference Final after defeating the New Jersey Devils, who I freaking hate since the Marty Brodeur, Scott Stevens era. As a Toronto Maple Leafs person in the GTA, there was always a thorn in my side, so I'm glad that they're gone. Jasper Fast, puck deflecting him in overtime on a power play. Carolina Hurricanes not scoring on the power play, but they end up beating the New Jersey Devils 3-2. They now have time to chill because right now the Florida Panthers and the Toronto Maple Leafs are heading to Game 5 in Toronto on Friday. I can see Toronto Maple Leafs winning that game, extending the series to 6 games. That will then be on Sunday, so that is just more time to recoup, ice up, warm up, get that acupuncture, get all ready to go. Because I already made a bet. I made a bet before even the playoffs even started because I've been watching these damn Hurricanes through the regular season. I think they're winning the Cup this year. I think they're winning the goddamn Cup because no one in the West, besides the Oilers, who are still up and down, really scare me. And I think the Carolina Hurricanes going to the Stanley Cup Final, no doubt. Shout outs to you guys. Shout out to everyone at PNC Arena. It looked absolutely wild. I cannot wait to make it down there. As I said before, the Panthers portion of this vlog. Raleigh, Charlotte, 4 days. Let's make it happen. All right, get some time to rest. Whenever I do a Panthers vlog, I'm also going to be talking about the Hurricanes as well. So, Caniacs, you got a voice now. Let's go.